Let's start with the appointment of counsel. Ms. Steele, are you confirming appointment for the Department of Health and Human Services?
The initial hearing is when you'll be appointed a court attorney if you can't afford one on your own. Amy Steele, an attorney with Parents Advocates of Sacramento, works with parents in the system.
At the very first hearing, the judge has a packet of information which the parent will also have, and it basically lays out the reasons why Child Protective Services has come and taken the children into protective custody.
That on January 10th, 2006, the child was born positive for methamphetamines.
And the judge is not deciding at that time if those allegations are true or not. The judge is just deciding if there's enough information to temporarily detain the children out of the parent's home.
And the child is a newborn. So approximately 9 months ago, were you engaged in a sexual relationship with Mr. Jones?
Yes, Your Honor.
The proceedings are confidential. The parents have not been charged with a crime. The judge is deciding if the children can be returned to them safely. There is no jury. A judge makes all the decisions. It's very chaotic the first time that you're here. You're going to be meeting with a lot of different people, from a social worker to your attorney. And then the judge is going to make her decision or his decision about whether or not the children can return.
The best thing you can do today is to go over to the STARS program and get started with drug and alcohol treatment.
After that, you should have contact with your attorney.
Within about 3 weeks, 15 court days, there will be a second hearing, and that's the jurisdictional disposition hearing. During that time period, in that 15-day time period, there will be a social worker assigned to further investigate the case, to look at all of the reasons why the children were brought into protective custody, to find out what kind of supports the parent has to help them take care of the children, and whether or not those supports are sufficient in order to be able to return the children to the home. It is really critical that from that first hearing that the parents find out from the social worker, from their attorneys, what steps they can take to make a difference. They may be able to impact the disposition of the case at that jurisdictional dispositional hearing.
Your social worker will meet with you to come up with a plan that includes services to help you get your life back in order. This is called your case plan.
The social worker makes an effort to really tailor the case plan to the parent's needs.
Your case plan may include parenting, alcohol and drug counseling, domestic violence counseling, individual therapy, alcohol and drug services, and it can include interactive therapy with your younger children, or parenting for adolescents if that's an issue. It will include anger management and any other services that the social worker feels are appropriate for you and your family.
The more parents can understand that these services are meant to benefit and strengthen them for the return of their child, I think the more they'd be willing to participate.
It is extremely traumatic for children to be removed from their parents. Children, regardless of what has happened to them in their home, want to be back at home with their parents. And it's important that parents reassure them that they are doing their part in seeing that the children do get back home.
I tell parents this is your children, and you don't want to leave them there in the system. Get up and do whatever it takes. You can do this.
It is their compliance with the plan that the court is going to look at to determine how committed they are to making the changes in their life to ensure the safety of their children.
An essential part of your case plan is to visit with your child while they're in foster care. Studies show that parents who do this are 6 times more likely to successfully reunify.
You have to visit. Do not miss a visit. If it's at all possible, do not miss a visit. And if you have to miss a visit, please call someone to let them know.
Building that trust back is vital, and you have to do that little bits at a time.
It took me 2 hours to take the bus to a 50-minute child visit, and I had to get over it. I had to do it.
It's keeping those commitments, being there when you say you're going to. Just do the ongoing visits, because you are recreating a relationship, a healthy relationship.
Our goal is always to look at how we can help parents and children reunify. We know that the foster care system is not a good place for children to be raised.
6 months after the jurisdictional hearing, we would hold a review hearing to check on the status of your case and to see what kind of progress you've made on your case plan. If you've been participating in your services regularly and you've been making good progress in them, the judge will consider whether or not to return the children to your care at that time or whether to extend your services. If you haven't done what you're supposed to do, if you've either missed your services or you've been inconsistent in your services or you're just resistant, then the judge does have the option to terminate your services at that time.
It doesn't mean that parental rights are severed. When reunification services are terminated, that is a message to the parent that the ball is in your court, that it is now your job to take the lead in accessing services to change whatever was happening in the home that placed your children at risk.
If your services are terminated, the judge will set a hearing within 4 months to decide a permanent plan for your child, whether your child is going to be adopted, entered into a guardianship, or remain in long-term foster care.
Family reunification can seem like a long, difficult process, but there are many people to help you along the way. Social workers, attorneys, recovery specialists, and parent leaders are there to call on. They will provide the support and structure that you need during this trying time.
Everybody has a decision. You can decide whether you want your children back or not.
You really got to be open, willing to change. You know, do what it takes. I think the change is the hardest thing for anybody, is to make changes in their lives. First they got to accept that they got to do it, and then they got to actually do it.
Listen to other people. Listen to people who have gone through this path, who have walked this path.
Parents can absolutely be successful in turning their lives around, and I've seen it time and time again.
It takes determination, it takes a commitment, it takes a lot of strength, but mostly it is that determination that is going to help the parent in the long run ensure that their children are returned to them.